Hey everyone, welcome back and Merry Christmas. Today we're going to be doing a short video. I always say it's short and then it isn't, but we're going to be doing like punch and kick, strike, swipe, VFX, but these are going to be more three-dimensional. So I already did a video on punch VFX. It's going to be an extension of that. We're going to be covering similar things. We're going to show you a particular type of implementation that looks pretty good in 3D. It has a lot of shortcomings, but I still like it. And yeah, so let's get into it. So what am I talking about exactly? So I have Rachel here throwing across. We're creating like this. The move I'm looking for. Take a close. So look pretty sweet, right? They look. The idea is to create, something that's volumetric. I have this deja vu that I've covered this before, but I don't that I've done it. Maybe it was a video I started and didn't finish. But there's a very simple thing that we do. Basically three quads that are rotated. You do two as well. You can actually do one if you want to just keep it in a ring, which is a classic. But looks really nice for 3D. It stays looking volumetric. There are lots of artifacts. At extreme angles, you get this. I'm going to show you my other game. There's lots of artifacting because I don't use glow. I'll probably end up implementing glow. I was trying to keep fidelity down, like trying to add constraints to this next game so it'll actually get finished. Like right here, it's not ideal, but it doesn't look bad, but it is kind of an artifact. So yeah, we're gonna peek some other games real quick, show you. This is something a lot of people could have come up with, but I first saw it. Bayonetta. I'm having that deja vu again. If I've covered this before, like forgive me, but we have some new stuff, especially on how to create the mesh that we'll get. That's so yeah. Then shout outs, Psycho, uh, footage here, Bayonetta move list. Right there, some cool swipes. It clear as day that 3 ring. Great one. Dope. You can see how volumetric it is. They sort of play into the, how do I phrase this? The textures that they use work well for, it being kind of messy, like sort of smoky mass. See how like volumetric that looks. Looks like it's rounded. Really great. Look at Hey Hune. They have it here. It's really obvious. You can see the artifacting. I don't know if I'll get into it because I haven't tested this yet, but I feel like I could do some mirroring and some draw order stuff where you have the inner part draw on top of it, and you might be able to eliminate a little bit of. But this three-dimensionality, I don't know. It's something you can mess with. You'll find that even like modern games, sort of, they might actually not use this. They might use sort of a tire look, which we'll look at too real quick. We won't be covering it. We've covered it. I'll probably do an updated video. Tire is basically sort of a wedge shape, but it's a bit more rounded. Basically, sort of like half a circle made into a ribbon, although it's like tapered a little bit more. Like you've probably seen Slashes, one of the first videos I did, where it's like a wedge shape, and that's been used a long time. sort of extend that, sort of like widen it a bit. Also gonna peek at actually, like in the midst of battle. I don't know for sure that Crystal of Atlan has done this. On some of the moves, they look so volumetric, they might be doing something else. But I have a hunch they might be doing it a little bit here. Hopefully you can see my... Haven't checked this game out. Do it. Even if it's not that fun for you, just the effects are so good. Character models are so good, and they have like amazing backgrounds too. People don't talk about that enough. Like character models are looking amazing, but people are doing such good work.
Combines.
See right there. Like some of this is, I get a sense that there is like a couple there, but they definitely use
All of
like, the
those wicked.
Like right here, probably like shape where it's like sort of a flat ribbon, but the ribbon is rounded a little. Yeah. How do we do that? Yeah, I want some of the shortcomings. Similar to that Heihun thing, you know. Some of this artifacting I had fixed, and now I don't know how to like get rid of it. But I'll learn to clean it up, and we'll discover a little bit on the way. But you know, for most of the angles, it looks cool. I also added a little sort of secondary here. This is a second mesh. We'll get into. So we're going to be working in sort of dedicated project here. I can upload that, and it'll be ongoing. So every time I make a new effect, on project here. So let's get open Blender. Against my heart, I guess. I'm using the new Blender. I'm trying to get used to it. I don't know. I prefer 2.7. Didn't like the UI update, which is years ago now at this point. So the first thing I want to do is crack open Blender, delete everything. Shift A, add a plane. And here's some. They're not like super loud, but the walls are really. Just like our other punch video, we are mirroring the effect. Show the this. We're going to want to be able to sort of shrink it towards its center point. If we don't mirror it, then if we do any scaling, going to either go to the extents of the mesh, or if we like scale the whole mesh like uniformly, like it's just not gonna work. You know what I mean? It's gonna just crunch the mesh. It's the effect isn't going to sort of go around center point exactly up. I have to. Mike's not picking it up. Hopefully you don't hear them. They're quite loud. They just talk loud on the phone in the dang hallway, and everyone can hear it. It's so loud. But yeah, you know, as we shrink it, and again, this was covered in the other video, like why we mirror the mesh. You look at the texture here, the shape like this, and by mirroring it, then we can like put it down. And then we can animate it as well. So skinny. know what I mean? Motion, effect. So we've made a plane. And we're gonna need to subdivide it a bunch. Oh, we gotta mirror it. Let's split it up. I'm gonna grab the bottom. Middle point to go on the bottom. Control this. So now we have a mirrored mesh. I'm going to want to subdivide it a bunch. You can decide. 20. Now we have this like the mirrored. Big deal. Watch this. So we're gonna fire default. Actually bend. Pick. There. Gives us the like a 180. That. So that's nice. And 50. Rotate it 90 degrees. That's it. That's the mesh we're actually going to be doing. No. Math, you can do that in Unity too. 120. We don't want that here. We want, oh my god. By 3. 120. Oops, I didn't locate it. I have that. Let's see this. This. A thing to note. That you could start with this, or can the full circle. You're going to want multiple sizes, multiple angles. Just have this. And are like trying to scale it like in the editor, you get a lot of distortion, right? You wanted like a shallower angle. Looks so hot. Steam it. These long names. And you do. For naming your project files, like it's just something that you might notice that not on the origin. That's bad. It came up in my last video where I was like trying to show an example and my origins were all never went in and fixed them, which is something I never do. Like I'm really a stickler for. So let's go ahead and move this down. Fudge, we're still not centered. Go down enough, it might center. Or it might be essentially centered, but that's what I have to do. Go to object mode. We want. Oops. Edit this. Ribbon. And can add. Great. Set for like an origin. If someone can explain to me why 0.6666 repeating on the y-axis for the position of this axis centers it. I don't know why, but I know that that's what works. So if we do that, it doesn't seem. It might be different in this version. Oh, I wonder if. Sorry, I was using old Blender. I wonder if it's point. Makes sense. Negative. Either. Is that what does it? I'm righty. 1 sec. All right, I'm back. Thanks for waiting. I don't know. I didn't do that. Like I said, old Blender, you'll put this empty origin for this 6 repeating in the negative y direction. This one seems to like 3185. Again, if you know the math as to what that means, let me know. But what that does is make it so that this origin is right on what we grab this. Fans based on that center. And that way when it's in the game, can in like the particle system adjust origins, but you know. I also changed this plane to have 31 cuts here. So that way 33 total, but when it comes together, it creates 32. A nice clean number. R of 2 divides well direction. Me off. Save that. I mentioned before, like certain angles are going. You're going to want more angles. Anything in between 0 and 180, it's basically the same. Because anything you got here, you could just do this. Once you're less than 180, then you're getting like a new shape. So I would recommend duplicate 110. And then like I think 5 or it's up to you, you know, it's for if you have for an then five the other way. Like 45. And scale it. Make it match up rough. One we can basically if you have one that was at like no angle, you'd want that directly in the center. this is again sort of preference. And then as the angle increases, sort of want to like interpolate down like this. Does that make sense? It's mainly for like setting stuff, like on your characters. You have something at this angle, you really want it like right on the center of the character, right? Because it's curving around. And too much. 60. You can adjust. We'll make it. We'll call it VFX Swipe X. Probably don't need this, but as general procedure, I often have like a pivot here for creating like a fake billboard effect, which rotate the effect and put it towards the screen. So it's not necessarily about creating a billboard, it's about sort of offsetting it while looking like it's at the same position, but it'll like draw in front of things without having to do like a new draw layer where it'll like draw too much on top of stuff. I did like a tiny video about it. I thought it would get more. I think it's so powerful. I use it everywhere, and I think it's so good. I did like a short video. Pop off like I thought it would. Anyway, particle system for that. Point 3 is a good one. We're actually gonna stay. One can. In fact, I think you can turn shape off. And you want some like variety, especially if they're like throwing like a bunch of punches quickly. Punch. Huh. Pause again. Sorry. For waiting again. I because I like using old Blender. My Windows default Blender was 0.7, so it wasn't importing properly. You don't know Unity, and you can change it, but default Windows setting, like for import settings, if you ever run into an issue like that where you've updated Blender or you're opening an old new, like if you default to like an older version of Blender, it can't import like new files. Anyway, for grab our local is generally what you want. That way you can rotate it. World sort of sets it absolutely in the world rotation thing, but this, we can rotate it. You can see it's not drawing on sides. Like if you look at the game view, but the shader we have is going to VFX Matte Base 1. Old Unity. Dude, I hate new Unity. It has so many, like, overall it's nice, but like all these weird updates have so many weird little bugs that drive me crazy. Anyway, to put a space between the numbers now, I swear you didn't use that. If I'm wrong, if I'm misremembering, let me know, but like, ugh, it drives me crazy. You don't put a space and like you duplicate it, then it'll just be like 1-2. You know what I mean? Like instead of 2. It's Matt. We'll do the 3-step gradient one. This is the new one I made. Normally in my shaders, I do like 2 colors, like a 3-step one. It's a little clunky, but it provides richer colors. Because I actually did like a lookup table one, which looks up a texture that's full of gradients and then gradient you, but it doesn't let you edit on the fly very easy. Color you have to edit like in Photoshop or whatever. No, right away. That way we. Transparent. I exposed these, and by default it did the default ones, but it's another Unity thing. I swear that changed. Set it to pre-multiply, which is the best blending method. Whether this is on or not, the alpha clipping will. And we have our mesh here being rendered plainly. So let's make it look cool. I've talked about this before. Sort of the tail end of the spikes to go straight back. I'll show you what I mean. Layer. And this is how I start a lot of effects. Outer glow, outer end. Bit of a glow. Drop a shape on it. Or search it, Google it. That's embarrassing. It's like, so alpha transparency. We might run into some artifacting. Clicking these seems to work. Generally, we want per axis. This is something dope. That it's old at this point, but repeat on the X and uh, back text. Oh, I know. So I can't get into it here. I do want to do a video on this. We're using, if you're using this project, particle system, I would recommend just duplicating old ones so you have to put this up. Like even I do that in my. We're using in the shader. UV1, which is the second set of UV. Its X, Y, and ZW are used for tiling and offset the main texture in a way that we can animate it because we can stream these like vertex values shader from the particle system. And then, UV0 is the regular UVs, UV0, XY, and then ZW is alpha cutoff. Called B here, but it's, and then I had used W for something else in another, but it's wide open for us to use. Means set this stuff up. So vertex stream custom is XY. Z W kind of brought some of it back. W, we're getting there. Like every possible problem I'm running. That for now. You can leave it at auto. There's a better way to data. So replicate what we just made. 2 here. 2 custom 1. Custom 2 we added. We're gonna use to animate. Right now, big old thing. Real quick, test that our UV. I guess for this effect, now that I think about it, we do want to clamp on. That's these things. I guess. Looks good. So let's make a shape that we like. We'll try a few things. I talked about this before. Having something really shallowly rounded at the front looks best for the effects. If you make it too sharply rounded, that looks pretty good. If it gets sharper, it ends up all the wrong things. Okay. Ends up getting really sharp. I mean, want is sort of like a fatter look. You can do it here. So it's tiling and then same thing here, but this way we can. But it's just another way to access it if you prefer it. Yeah, see, that's really point now maybe, but at the tail end we want. Start with that. Ready? That looks hype. Am I right? Like that looks so good already. And just that little artifact of having this thing right here, pretty good. Using those rounded sort of spike shapes can be nice every time. We need to. It looks pretty sweet. A little depth. Too. Make these a group. As I just sort of sketch for it, I tend to just don't want to darken it all the way. I want it pretty. Do one intermediary between this and, but then like the outlines I tend to just black. It's just sort of a style I'm going for. In other projects, sort of bring the black up a little bit. Trying to keep the black, like the really dark values in the effects. Like, see how it goes. Bit light at the front, darker in the back. So like this is quite pretty nice. Like look at that. You're basically done, gamer. Like that's easy. Sweet. From here we can start animating a bit, and then we will feel a little more in depth. I kind of want to like rush to the sort of completed one, and then we'll do some extra stuff. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. So now we want to do the offset, the X offset. Custom twos that occur, and one is all the way around. Go all the way around. You can see we end right here. Actually, this. Crunched a bit, the calculation gets a little bit weird because I scaled it. Looks okay, better motion. So, like always, fast in, slow out is like step one. There's two types of fast in, slow out. There's just doing this, and then there's hyper genius mode where you add just, you'll see this as like a default shape a lot. Like this. I don't want to say I came up with this by myself, but I guess I feel like, let me put it this way. A lot of people sort of come to the same conclusion that go bop, bop. It creates a really nice motion because then this part is really fast. Then you just have sort of a lingering like follow through. Like that. Looks dope. So fast in, slow out, and then there's genius. Fast in, slow out. So that looks pretty cool already, I think. So we sort of work on our other messing a bit, just trying to see what start from things. You know, sometimes I think it's really good is to have an S curve in the beginning like this. Depending on the effect, it sort of introduces the effect. It gives you just sort of a little bit of hesitation where the effect shows up. It's really minor, but you can sense it. Follow through. Okay. Or more like a big sweeping like kick. And like I mentioned, did get the same effect. Like in between 360 and 180, it's basically the same mesh. You can just change the scale of the mesh. Scale. Giving us basically the same thing. We won't cheat because that was easier than I thought. But you could just make a 181 if you find that easier. You don't know about this. Highly recommend doing this. Whenever you're using curves in Unity, when you grab one like this, like you risk like moving the time. Like I don't know if you can hold control, but then you're snapping. At least it saves you from getting off time. And started doing a lot is doing this. I think it helps like super. It's really good. I use it a lot. Yes. Animate the Y. And it's a little, in order to make it like, someone to also explain this better to me if you have a better way of doing it. Tiling and offset, like if you don't have your vertex stream set up, you want like a value in there. That way it's not scaled at 0. Although even this isn't perfect, like in the material previews, or if you use it on like, a non, you just have like a plain mesh, or you want to animate it differently, not using the particles, it's not using vertex stream, then you like need this set up, or all your materials will just sort of be blank because it's all scaled down to 0. Anyway, but because of this, it might be a little unintuitive because we have 0 scaling here, but it's actually added to 1. Anyway, really doesn't end up being too big of a. It's kind of thin. The motion is nice, right? Shrinking like 2. This. It looks a little weird, right? It's sort of like petering out. And the quick motion going from fat to thin creates more impact. You know what I mean? Like that's too fast, but that same thing, keep this as an S curve in the beginning. That way it's going to be fat for a little bit. That way we can see it, but then it's going to like scrunch down. Do this shape a lot. Leaves more of an impression. Crunch it down quickly. I don't know if that's quite right for this effect, because we need to remember that we're like throwing a punch, right? Impact. And we're going to go through some other examples about how to fade this out, like being able to scale that mirroring UV. Artifacting. That's some of that stuff I mentioned. Some of it has to do with like your textures close to the edge. But I think I don't know what that does, but it fixes it. So if you're doing sort of like a sleeping kick, this might be good. But for a punch, you might want something a bit more punchy. That. Want like a fast motion that stops more suddenly, faster, and we'll try that other. You know, our tiling is so much just close to being still. I mean, technically they're all in a circle, but I know that probably looks too fast, but like in a game, actually, don't want to mess with the color too much. Like during the, obviously it's a yeah. At this point, the effect is done. Like you can click off the video now if you want. That looks really good. Speed's still a little wet. But then sort of on the front looks a little whack, but yeah. So part of what you're doing, sort of like on the do that. Even without any motion, first frame, sort of creating motion, creating this. That makes sense. So really, like, if you go to the Crystal Atlantic, they sort of show up real quick, right? Pop, and there's just like a little bit of motion, but they have tons of impact. You know what I mean? They're so flashy and cool, and it's integrated with the animations. Sort of appear, fade out. So it's not always about creating like these big sweeps, like how Bayonetta did it. Create these quick impacts. That I knew that. It ran through my head. I'm like, you gotta go smaller to make it fatter, and then I didn't. In the game view. So, and there's lots of things you can do. And add some layering, like if you have like a second effect. We'll try that. You can add it directly to this texture. Like texture. Create some motion. It looks a little bit weird doing it. Scaling in the Y direction. Oops. Do this. Secondary effect is going to look a lot better. So, see, there it is again. Actually, soft. Can fade them out. Oh, it wasn't. I have something like that. We're gonna make this motion, but already like that adds like a kind of text. You can use particles too, like particle particles. That wise guy. Oops. And here the mirroring might be like undesirable. Let's see. And just both again. Oh, it's the 60-degree one. Test of this. I did something wrong. See, I guess you can sort of understand some of it. That looks cool in its own way, right? Also, long goofball. Counting like a ton of particles. I don't understand. Huh. change your UVs a little bit, like I don't know, a flat mesh. Could make this right now. Or runway. Thing. That makes sense though. Ran out of steam. Fun to test some of this stuff. Videos is a lot of. Yeah, that makes sense. Shapes. Yeah, the test thing because it doesn't. Like had weird things like that. I sort of did that earlier, but urge you to do that. Look. wrong. Yeah, I had meant to make a new material for this. That's all right. Don't do that in your own projects. But having it in the vertex streams is an hour. Oh my god. That's so crazy. But yeah, that's the end of it. I probably will. I think I'm gonna do sort of more supplemental videos. It's gonna be an extension of this one. Usually when I mess around with VFX at the end like that, I can make all sorts of cool stuff happen. Put a little bit of preparation. Blowback effects. We covered that in the initial or the video from a while. I want to redo that just effect by itself. Basically, sort of like creating a shot. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. This will be available. I'll provide a description. Back here. Sorry about that. Sorry about all the pausing. Yeah, I just got gassed. I am exhausted. This has been fun. I might. I've been compiling a list of videos. There's gonna be like a. I know most of my videos are VFX. It's gonna be like a big. I want to like keep adding VFX to this stuff. Learn from it, you know. Doing some VFX. What I was getting at is that if I can name a lot of like very specific effects, like get a big list of them, I might upload. For now, you know, committing to a month. If you have any VFX you'd like done, you know, game, let me know. I know a long time ago someone recommended this effect from this. Always wanted to do the video. It's a really cool effect too. Short answer is just like make. Sorry, you guys don't even know what I'm talking about, but like make a mesh that's sort of shaped like the car, and then you just like streak some like lines over it. It's a really cool effect. I gotta find that email, but yeah, if you have questions, let me know. You can follow me online at Dream Girl Games on Blue Sky, Patreon if you want to support me there. Thank you all so much for the support. Got a bunch of new patrons already just from that last video. I really have any other questions about anything really, you know. I wanted to shout out just like a few videos, really unceremonious, but they were really helpful in like getting me, you know, to this point where I feel like making, and I'm really excited about next game. If you haven't heard of Indie Game Clinic, please go check them out. They're like the best. I'm sorry, they're like the best game dev channel right now. Amazing. Their videos are just 20 out of 10. Practical, straightforward, knowledgeable, seasoned, actionable, just everything you want. Another one is Fast Forward Your Game. They talk a lot about production in a really healthy way. Some of it's a little bit grind set. Sorry, bro, if you're watching, I'm sorry. But their videos are so good. I would check out their stuff. Just real practical tough love type stuff, but really good in like making sure games get made. And last but not least, but Cute Games Club, please check them out. Sort of the same thing, you know, they're sort of cute games, girly game focused, but like actual good game dev advice. Like that's what I would say about these three channels. You know, there's lots of game dev channels that are just people repeating the same things, or it's stuff like what I do, like tutorials, which are really good. Some of it, or a lot of it, I would say, especially the tutorial stuff, not precise. It's like too general. That's what I like to think I bring like actual formulas and recipes. Check those out, please. Like they're amazing channels. Change your life. They changed my life. I'm not even kidding. Granted, I can't believe this video was an hour. I feel like we didn't get much time. It's a total disaster, but I don't know. But really, the extent of the beginning there about setting up that mesh and how you can use that mesh. So yeah, happy holidays to y'all. Let me know if you have an idea for a video. I have like 4 or 5 videos lined up for the next ones I want to do. But if there's a certain effect you want to learn about, take care. Love y'all.